Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're doing very well. In today's video I'm going to be showing you how to make this really cute case for your Nintendo Switch, and you might have noticed that the audio is sounding a little bit better, and that is because I got a new mic. So hopefully now you guys can hear me a little bit clearer. Let's get into today's tutorial. So to make the Switch case I'm using about 50 grams of chunky like double knit yarn, and it's from B&M. It's the like pink spotty one. And in the original case that I made, I used the King Cole Comfort Kids double knit yarn in the colour Sunrise, if you were wondering. And then I'm also using a daisy button. I just got this from a charity shop, but yeah, you can find them online. And then I'm using a 4mm hook. And I'm also using an embroidery needle. And it's important that your embroidery needle will fit through your buttonhole, otherwise you can't sew it to the Switch case. And then you're going to need some measuring tape and obviously your Nintendo Switch. You also need some scissors, but somewhere along the way I've lost the footage for that, sorry. So the first step is to measure our Switch. So I've measured across the Switch, and that was a measurement of about 8 inches. And that is going to be the length of the chains that we're going to start making. And then I also measured the height to kind of know how many rows I would end up making, and that was about 3.6. So then I made a slip knot. And then I just started making a chain for the length of 8 inches. So for me that was about 29 chains. And then as you can see here, I'm just checking that is enough, and it was. So once you have your chain, you're going to be doing 1/2 double crochet into the back bump, the second back bump of the hook. So as you can see, I've flipped the chains like the opposite way so that you can see those back bumps. So I've just done a 1/2 double crochet in that first back bump, and I'm yarning over, inserting the hook into that back bump, then yarning over, pulling up that loop, 3 loops on the hook, and then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops, and that is your 1/2 double crochet. And then I just did 1/2 double crochet into each back bump across, and then I stopped at the very last back bump because we're going to be doing something different there. So it's just 1/2 double crochet into each back bump across, and then stop before the last one. So now we've reached the end of the row. In the last back bump we are going to make 3 1/2 double crochets in that back bump. And then we will be turning the work the other way round. As you can see, like I'm kind of turning it, and then we'll be making 1/2 double crochet into each stitch on the opposite side. So I'm making 1 into that first stitch, and I am including that end so that it's weaved in. So just 1/2 double crochet into each stitch across, and then like before, once you get to the final stitch you will be making 3 1/2 double crochets into that stitch. So there I am making my 3 1/2 double crochets into that last stitch. And then once you've done that, you're going to slip stitch into the first 1/2 double crochet that you made. So just inserting the hook into the stitch and then pulling up a loop, and then pulling that loop through the first loop, and that is a slip stitch. So I'm just lining up my work with the switch just to double check that it is going to fit and it looks good. So for round 2 I'm going to chain 2 and we're going to be making double crochets in this round. So the double crochet is yarn over, insert the hook into the stitch, yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and then yarn over, pull through 2 loops again, and that is a double crochet. So again, yarn over, insert the hook into the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. Again, yarn over, insert the hook into the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And I'm going to repeat this all the way around, and again there's no increases in this row, so it's just 1 double crochet into each stitch. So at the end of round 2 I just slip stitched into that first double crochet just like we did in row 1, and for row 3 I'm going to chain 2, and we're going to be repeating row 2 now for the rest of the height of the switch. So I'm just making 1 double crochet into that first stitch, and then 1 double crochet into each stitch all the way around, and then once I reach the end of the round I then make a slip stitch back into that first double crochet that we just made. I'm just repeating round 2, which is just a double crochet into each stitch all the way around and then slip stitching into that first double crochet, and you're going to want to repeat this until you reach the height of your Nintendo Switch. For me, and using this yarn, that was 6 rows of double crochet in total. However, with regular double knit yarn I think I did about 10 rows of double crochet. So this is what it's looking like, and now I'm just going to fasten off. So I'm just chaining 1 and then cutting the yarn. So now we're going to be making the flap that will come down over the case to kind of secure it. So I'm going to make a slip knot. And then I'm going to mark out with my hook where I want the flap to kind of start. So you could do it right at the edge if you wanted, but I personally don't really like the look of this because it kind of goes over the edges of the case and it just looks like it's too big. So I like to go a couple of stitches inward into this kind of middle, and then it kind of covers it and lines up perfectly with the edge. So I'm just attaching it here. And I'm going to chain 2, and then I'm going to make a double crochet into the next stitch, and then a double crochet into each stitch across, and I did this for 26 stitches in total. So 1 double crochet into the next 26 stitches. So once you've finished your 26 stitches, or however long your switch case is, I'm going to chain 2 and turn the work, and then that will be where we start row 2. So it's just 1 double crochet into the next stitch, and then 1 double crochet into each stitch across. and then once we reach the end of the row we should have a chain 2, and you want to make a double crochet into the top of that chain 2. And then you're just going to want to repeat these rows of double crochet until you're happy with how long the flap is. So I did 4 rows in total with the chunky yarn. So I've now done my 4 rows of double crochet, and now we're going to move on to the last row, which will be a single crochet. So we're going to chain 1 and turn the work, and then we're going to make 1 single crochet into the next 13 stitches, obviously because that is the middle stitch, but just find the middle stitch if you have a different number of stitches in your row. So I'm just doing a single crochet into each stitch across until I reach the 13th stitch. Once I've reached the 13th stitch, I then just laid my case flat, and then I grabbed my button and I kind of made an estimate of how many chains I would need to make to fit around the button. So I went with a chain of 6, and this was a pretty good amount of chains, and then I just made a single crochet into the next stitch, so the 14th stitch, and then as you can see I just tried out the button to see if it would go over the loop, and it did. So 6 stitches was good for me. If you're using double knit yarn, then I would use about 10 stitches if you've got a big button like this. And then I just did 1 single crochet into each stitch across until I reached the final stitch, and obviously the final stitch is that chain, so I did 1 single crochet into that chain 1. Oh, sorry, that chain 2 I think it is, isn't it? But yeah, it's 1 single crochet into the top of the chain, and then to fasten off I just did a chain 2. As you can see here, I was running out of yarn. I don't know how I made it, but I did. And then I just weaved in my ends with my sewing needle. I just went through a few areas. I kind of went in different directions just to make sure it was secure. And I am sewing this on the inside of the flap, by the way, because you want it to be hidden. So yeah, I don't really have much technique with this. I just sort of go in different directions and then cut the yarn, and then that's all secure. And then it's time to sew on the button. So as I told you before, I did actually run out of yarn, so this is a different yarn, but it's quite similar in colour. So I just cut some off and then tied a double knot at one end, and then I placed it on my needle, and then I just placed my button in the centre, roughly where the loop is that we made, and then I just started sewing from the back of the inside of the case, and then pulled through to the outside, and then went into the second hole and then pulled through, and then I just repeated this. So it's kind of like a circular motion that you're going in. So yeah, just repeated that until it was secure, and then I weaved in the ends, and then yeah, the button's all done. So here is what the case is looking like. I think this is a really nice way to kind of accessorise your tech stuff, and also like you can use it for other things like a pencil case. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Please consider subscribing, and if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.